All right. Well, here's a quick one before bed. This is my reading list for the foreseeable future. I know I try to do them monthly, but my life's a mess. Being able to acquire a month that I can devote isn't always going to be the factor. But I've got a couple things that I can do here. The first is graphic novel. This was a gift from somebody, and so I wanted to check it out. I'm not usually a DC fan, but I'm there for some of the characters here. Definitely. I don't know enough about the Batman franchise to know this story arc at all. So I'm very curious to see where that one goes. This is another one of those I should have read by now, but haven't. So this is my, you know, obligation reading is Animal Farm. I've never read it. I don't think I've ever read it. I mean, I do know that a fair number of my classmates read it in high school. And I think I read an animal book at some point, but I don't think it was this one. So I don't know for sure if I've ever heard or seen it. So I'm going to give that a go. I'm pretty sure I haven't read it. I don't know anything about it other than it's supposed to be communist or something like that. I don't know the specifics. And then another weird out of left field one here. This is going to be this. I found this years ago and it immediately went onto my to read list. It's by Doug Chiang and Orson Scott Card. I don't know anything about this and I have never heard anybody ever make a reference to this. And it's not really a graphic novel so much. It's it feels very reminiscent of um, like the Star Wars concept or character design books that came out. But I I don't know, like, is it a story or is it a concept for a story? Like, I just don't know what it is. And the idea of such a heavily graphic book, and I've deliberately not read any of the intros or anything to it so that I don't spoil any of it. I get to go into this cold, completely cold. So I'm very excited to explore that because I do want to see where this goes from here. Because the concept on the cover is fascinating to me. I finally get to find out what it means. Because there's another book that I'm actually a huge fan of that I read years ago called The Pentateuch uh, Retold or something like that. The Second Earth. It's it's such a masterpiece of creativity. It's like you have to remind me to bring that up again at another point. I do want to do a couple lists of some of my favorite works, so I'll probably bring it up in one of those. But it's just it's not what you think it would be. It's very similar in some regards to what this looks like, where it's visual artwork pieces structured in a sort of pseudo illuminated manuscript of a recounting of the origin of existence or origin of humanity or whatever you want to call it with a sci-fi twist with surrealist artwork that's just amazing. It's so weird and fantastical. If it weren't so adult and pseudo biblical and complicated, I guess is the only word I can think of to use for it, that one would be. I would love to see like a Studio Ghibli version of that. It's not the kind of thing they would ever do, but the visuals of it are very like I could see translating them over to a Studio Ghibli, however you say it. But for now, I'm hoping, and I have a bad track record when I find something that I'm like, ooh, I have a lot of high hopes for this. They almost always bomb. So I should probably tamp my enthusiasm for Robota, but I do want it to turn out well. I'm really hopeful. I've held on to this book for multiple years with the plan to eventually read it through here and share my thoughts on it. I'm hopeful. All right, that's the quick run through what we're going to be reading for my reading list. I will catch you for the reviews on that in a bit. Take care, and I'll see you there.